Hey everyone, welcome back to Mastermind Maven. And if you're new here, I'm Loveleen Kureja. Today we are going to dive into the art of delivering an effective and impressive training session. We'll be covering key elements that can take or make your session greatly impactful. So, if you are a trainer, an educator, or someone who just wants to enhance their communication skill, you're at the right place. To begin with, session description is what we will be looking for. So session description definitely it has to be a capturing one. It needs to be something where people will be engaged onto your session. So it's one of the most important. Crafting an engaging and informative session overview sets the stage for a successful session ahead. Begin with an attention grabbing introduction, pose a thought provoking question, share a relevant quote, or provide a relevant example. And that is the best way to do it. So, provide an organized outline of the main topics that you're going to be covering. This will help the participants understand the structure of the session and prepare them for what they want to expect from this training session. Keep the description clear and concise. Use straightforward language and don't use any jargon. You just want to convey the main objectives, the key topics, without using any unnecessary, unwanted language here. So clearly state how the content will benefit them and its practical application on their job. Clearly articulate the learning objectives. Outline what participants will be able to gain by the end of the session. Create a roadmap for the learning journey. Choose a language which is engaging, enthusiastic. Convey your passion for the subject. It should seem that, yes, you're excited to train them. Use positive language. Create an excitement even for the learners for the coming session that you're going to be doing. Include details such as date, time, how long it's going to be, what's the duration of the session. If applicable, also share any information related to material, prerequisites that participant had to complete or should be aware of before they start sitting into this session. Express the interactive nature of the session. Let participants know that when they engage, ask questions, when they contribute, it will not only welcome them for the essential learning, but also enrich their learning experience. So build an anticipation for the session by hinting any exciting event that's going to be there, any exciting content, anything which they have to stick to till the end. Remember, a polished description reflects professionalism. It reflects your attention to detail. So create that for the trainers. Create that for your audience. It is the most important thing. So once you have set the session plan, then the learning objectives. What are they going to gain? What are they going to learn? So setting clear learning objectives is very important. Clearly defined learning objectives such as what's the roadmap, guiding both the trainer and the participants on the focus. What is the direction of the session? Make sure the participants understand what they are expected to learn by the end of the session. What learners understand the purpose of the session is. What is the skills that they're going to gain? What is the knowledge? What are they meant to acquire from this session? Okay, so whether you're conducting a workshop or maybe an online training session, or even if you have an offline session, having well defined objectives is very crucial. These objectives will guide them, the participants, that what the learning experience is going to be. It will make it more meaningful. Okay, you can relate to objectives of the real world application to increase that motivation level. Now, ensure that each session, each part of the session that you're going to do is aligning to these established learning objectives. Encourage the participants to seek clarification, to share thoughts, whether they have understood the objectives clearly or not. Clear objectives not only guide participants, but the maximum and the best part is they also contribute to the learning experience of everybody around. Okay, so now once the session plan has been done, the objectives have been sent, now you also need to ensure that the flow of the session is maintained. Okay, so let's talk about the flow of your training session. Have you ever been in a session, which is very disorganized, very confusing, One slide comes in, you don't know what's happening. The next slide comes in, all of a sudden you're like, where did this come from? Well, how's the experience? Not great, right? But it's not a great experience. You're right. So you need to structure your sessions for a maximum impact. Your one slide should match over with the other. So break down your content into logical and sequential steps. Ensure that one step above the other. Each part of the material smoothly transitions to the next part, creating a cohesive and comprehensive journey. Okay, so plan the session with a clear progression of one topic to another. This not only will help the participant understand, but it will also establish a sense of continuity, a sense of purpose as to why this is being taught to us, why are we being trained on this. So use clear signposts. You can use verbal cues to show that, okay, you're transitioning from one topic to the other, helping the participants to follow the flow of the entire content seamlessly. So you can do this through discussions, through group activities, maybe put a question answer round, encourage active participation whenever you're flowing from one topic to the other. Pose thought-provoking questions, give them something to think, give them, ensure that participants are actively thinking over it. So whenever you have a well-structured and engaging session, it's always because the flow of the session is great. Every part of it matches with the next step. It's same like if you want to go to the fourth floor, you will have to go from first floor to the second to the third. They're all linked to reach to the final objective of the session, isn't it? Right. After that, the next part is how to deliver. Okay. If you want to deliver a great training session, BSM is most important. Now, what is BSM? The body language, the speaking skills, the modulation that you have in your voice. Important. Your nonverbal communication plays a significant role in how you deliver your message, how your message is received. So always maintain a steady and purposeful eye contact to convey your confidence, to convey your sincerity. Remember, hidden curriculum is because of the BSM. So I'm sure all of you are aware of the hidden curriculum, a curriculum that we as trainers teach even when we're not teaching it. Our body language is one part of the hidden curriculum, which we indirectly teach our candidates or teach our trainees to be disciplined, to be professional, to be able to grasp things, right? So whether you're standing or whether you're sitting while giving up your training sessions, always sit upright, keep an open posture to project the confidence and approachability. Do not sit with crossed arms or don't stand with crossed arms, because when you stand with crossed arms, it is perceived as defensive. That means you're closed. People are not going to be asking you questions. Your gestures, avoid using the back of your hand. Gestures like this, open hands, open arms, show your palms as much as possible instead of showing the back of your hand. So this is a purposeful gesture. It emphasizes, these are the key points that you can do with it. And then the next comes voice modulation. When you say or speak with the same level, it causes monotony, right? So vary your pitch, vary your tone to avoid this monotony. A dynamic vocal range will always keep the audience engaged. It adds emphasis to your content. It adds emphasis to the important points. So control your speaking pace. Don't be too fast. Don't be too slow. Adjust your pace, which basically means maintain the interest of your audience. With slower speed for emphasis and faster speed for excitement or urgency. Speak clearly. Speak at a moderate pace. Pause. Pause doesn't mean you forgot. Pause means you're emphasizing. You're allowing the audience to reflect, to retain. It gives a moment for them to absorb. And as a trainer, it gives you a moment to gather your thoughts. Okay. So ensure that your voice reaches all the audience, not just the first ones sitting in front. So it has to be loud and clear with pauses. Right? Great. speaking skills. Now, voice modulation is great, but at the same time, the way you speak, what you speak is also important. So speak words with clarity, articulate your thoughts, clear pronunciation, because clear pronunciation enhances understanding. It ensures the message is conveyed accurately. So tailor your language to suit your audience. If your audience are not too frank or not too sophisticatedly speaking a language, don't use it. Avoid the jargons, avoid overly complex terms, avoid overly complicated language, unless you know that your audience are familiar with this. Okay, so use language that resonates with your listeners. The listeners are familiar with. Use a language which they can understand easily, even whether it is conveying enthusiasm, being empathetic, showing conviction, wearing your expression makes your communication more compelling, but in the same language that your audience understand. Okay, so by putting your body language, doing voice modulations, your entire session takes a new turn. You create a more dynamic and effective training session. You capture the attention of the audience, you maintain them. And the best part is they don't want to leave you. So remember to practice these techniques. Remember to do a clear practice before you deliver any training session. You can consistently develop this. It's something that's natural. You can be always confident about your communication style. You can always change it. You can be more effective with it. So always practice your communication. Always practice your skills, practice your session before delivering it in terms of voice modulation, in terms of the speaking skills that you're going to be delivering. And the best way to do it is to know your audience. Always ensure that you know a little bit about the learners who are coming, who are the audience, what are they type, what is it that they understand. It's always good to do that. Right? In order to make a more effective relationship, a trainer needs to respect its learner. Okay, so building a positive trainer-learner relationship is the key to a successful session. Be attentive, be responsive, listen to your participants. What are they questioning? What is their contribution? So develop some of these strategies to demonstrate respect, to create an inclusive learning environment. Because when learners feel respected, the learning experience becomes more enjoyable. It becomes more effective. So, how do you do that? One simple way: acknowledge the diverse perspective. Please understand the group that you have has diverse people, diverse experience. So, what you need to do is you need to acknowledge this diverse perspective, acknowledge this experience, the diverse experience that the group is carrying. Treat everyone with respect, create a positive atmosphere, that supports learning. And how can you create a positive atmosphere? By actively listening to participants, by acknowledging them, by appreciating their diverse perspective, the diverse knowledge they bring, encouraging open communication, you know, setting clear expectations for their behavior, for their participation. Always be responsive to the needs of the participant. Like, you may want to adjust the pace, you may adjust the language, you may want to adjust the content, you may also want to promote collaboration, more teamwork. So create a safe space for them. You know, you need to create a space where everybody feels heard, they feel respected, that yes, I'm going to be heard, I'm going to be addressed. If there is any inappropriate behavior, address it there and there. Always use inclusive language. Regularly check with the participants to check if they are comfortable, what is their level of understanding, whether they are getting what you're trying to say. Check by using different methods. So, check for understanding should always be done. So, once we do that, it can easily impact it. So, if you want your sessions to be really respectful, you need to respect your learners. Second most important part is the learners need to respect the learners. Does that happen? Yes. One person trying to say, and all of a sudden, 2, 3 people stand up and they start speaking. So they're not respecting each other. And that is why we say that respect isn't one-way street. It's always a two-way street. So as much as it is important for a learner to respect the trainer, it is also equally important for a learner to respect each other. It is imperative that you establish ground rules that promote respectful communication. Okay, so you can emphasize the significance of active listening to the learners, encourage participants to engage in discussions, provide constructive feedback. As a trainer, create that environment, create an atmosphere where everybody feels comfortable. Everybody feels like expressing their thoughts, their ideas, fostering an inclusive and open environment. So do collaborative learning activities, do group projects, do discussions, foster a sense of community, share their learning goals. You need to promote that culture sensitivity also. Remember, there'll be people from different cultures. So culture sensitivity creates an atmosphere where diverse perspectives are respected, they're celebrated. Equip the learners with conflict resolution skills, framing disagreements as opportunities. So anybody who comes up with a disagreement, show how they can use that as an opportunity for learning. Implement a peer support system. You can do buddy systems, you can do a mentor-mentee system, where learners will assist each other, enhance their overall learning experience. So highlight the unique strengths, the perspectives that each learner brings in. We shouldn't highlight only the weaknesses, right? It is more important to highlight the strength. Reinforce the idea that diverse enhances the overall learning experience because it brings a lot of learning from each other. So ensure that even your training material, the examples that you're using, the languages that you're using are all inclusive. The culture sensitivity is taken care of. So be mindful of that culture sensitivity. Okay, avoid any unintentional biasm in your content, in your sayings, in your examples. Now, trainers have respected the learner respecting the learner, but at the same time, the learner respecting the trainer. Right? That's a flipped part of the script. So let's discuss how trainers can show respect to their trainers, how learners can show respect to the trainer. Remember, the relationship is between the trainer and the learner. And like anything else, this is also a two-way street. So how does a learner show? By actively participating, by offering feedback, maintaining open communication. So learners, they play a crucial role in creating a positive and constructive learning atmosphere. But how can you do that? You need to cultivate it. You need to cultivate a culture of respect from the learners towards the trainers. So how can you do? You can apply a few strategies. So from the beginning, from the starting, it's crucial that you establish the clear expectation for respectful behavior. So how you can do that? Simple. Modeling yourself with punctuality, preparedness for a topic, the positive attitude. All this will set the standard for the learners. You provide them constructive feedback. So by providing constructive feedback to your learners on their progress, demonstrating the commitment they have to their development, encouraging reciprocal feedback, being approachable, being available for discussions, even outside the formal, sessions that are there. This all fosters a sense of openness and approachability. This helps the learners respect their trainers. Okay, so acknowledging and celebrating the learner's contribution. If anybody is really contributing to the team's development, why not acknowledge it? Why not celebrate it? Okay, if required, please customize the training content to meet the learner's needs. When you incorporate learning methods, the teaching methods as per the learner's requirement, what are you doing? You're offering a clear guidance. If there are assignments, offer clear guidance on all of them. All this will contribute to a positive learning atmosphere. When you incorporate all these practices, a trainer not only earns respect, but also creates an environment where learners feel valued. They feel motivated. They feel motivated to engage. They feel that, yes, we are also respected. So ensure these strategies are done and you follow these strategies. Now, above all, when you're delivering any session, the most important part is to ensure that that lesson is delivered well. The motto of the training is delivered well. So how will you do that? By check for understanding. You need to ensure that your participants are on the same page as what you want them to be. And this is very crucial. So confirming that the learners comprehend the material. That is the fundamental of effective training, right? So let's explore different methods for checking understanding. You can do question answer round, you can do quizzes, you can do session planning, because this not only helps your participants, but it also allows you to adjust your pace based on the feedback and engagement that your trainees give, right? So regular checks, these are crucial milestones. You can do the checks in the form of forms, interactive quizzes, open discussions. You could also do practical exercises. You could do role plays. It allows the learners to apply what they have learned. You also you can incorporate quick polls. You can incorporate surveys during the sessions. This engages and encourages active participation. It provides real-time feedback on the level of understanding, right? You can utilize questioning techniques, ask open-ended questions, prompt discussions, allow the learners to clearly, ask if they have any questions. You can introduce a brief overview of the session where learners can summarize the key concepts. This will help them reinforce their understanding. Okay. Always adjust the pace based on the feedback that you get from the learner. This is important. At the same time, you can also pay attention to the nonverbal clues that your people are giving. For example, you have a puzzled expression, people are not engaging, they're not responding. Why? Because the trainer can easily gauge the group, right? You know what is happening. So if you encourage the learners to express their thoughts or, openly tell their concerns, you can immediately clarify them. Moreover, being responsive to the questions also helps you adjust to the depth of it. An effective strategy is to periodically pause, ask for feedback. This helps you create a collaborative environment. It helps you create a communicative learner environment. When you align the pace with the learner's need, a trainer ensures that the material is neither overwhelming, it's neither too slow, it's just optimized for the learning experience for all the participants. So if you really want a great one, so check for understanding for both verbal, non-verbal, body language. Everything can help you understand whether the candidates are understanding what you're trying to say or not. Exactly. Right? Great. Now, time management. Is time management really important? Yes, it is. Not only to the fact that it is important for the trainer, it is equally important for the learners also, isn't it? So time is of essence. It's especially in the training sessions. We need to respect the participants' time. We need to implement the effective time management strategies, and therefore, time management is essential. It is essential for ensuring a smooth and productive learning experience. So always remember, a great trainer always begins the session promptly. It begins the session on time. He respects the scheduled start time. He respects the time of the learners who made it on time. This sets a positive tone. It demonstrates your commitment to utilizing the participants' time efficiently. Okay, so follow the agenda that's there. Any deviation, avoid it. Okay, when you deviate excessively from the schedule, then you lead to frustration, you lead to loss of impact of the overall effectiveness of the session. So how can you get good or great effective time management strategies? Easy. First, prioritize the content. Identify and prioritize the key content based on the learning objectives that we had shared. Ensure that crucial topics receive sufficient attention. And the less crucial information, it can be covered effectively. Okay? Structured breaks. Integrate structured breaks. Allow participants to refresh. Short breaks can enhance concentration. It prevents them from getting fatigued. It also ensures engagement. Divide the time. So time blocks. Divide the session into manageable time blocks. Assign specific durations to each segment. This helps them maintain a steady pace. It helps you also to maintain a steady pace, right? To ensure that the coverage of the entire material happens. And adapt to questions. Be flexible. Address the participants' questions. While it is crucial to stick to the schedule, but you should always have time for relevant queries because only that will enhance clarity and the participants' understanding. Right? Okay. And most important, communication of the time expectations that you have. So whenever you start the session, in the beginning, when you have a session overview, at the beginning of the session itself, provide the participants with a clear overview of the agenda, the time allocation for each segment. This will set the expectation right. It helps the participants to mentally prepare for the session structure. If you say you've just started the session and it's a 5-hour session, and the participant thought it was just a 1 hour or 2 session, 1 hour or 2 hour, they're not mentally prepared for it. So when we schedule it and we tell them the session overview, that this is the duration, they start mentally doing it. Simultaneously, timely notifications. If you know that there is an adjustment that's going to happen, maybe an extra 10-minute, 15-minute, half an hour, and there are some unexpected changes, communicate these changes. Communicate these changes promptly. Okay, so what happens because of it? The participants are aware of the modification. They can plan accordingly. And when we address these time management aspects, you contribute to a training environment that values the participants' time. It optimizes their learning. It optimizes the opportunity. It makes them adaptable to that dynamic need of the group. And moreover, not only this, it helps them stay focused, which is the most important thing. Above all, we started with a great start. Okay, we have done great. The session has gone beautifully as you expected. But remember, guys, the closing is equally important. It is crucial moment. Why? Because remember, the last experience is the lasting experience. Okay, so the closing of a training session is the time when you reinforce the key takeaways, when you get to express gratitude, when you get to a time to set the expectations for the next day. Okay, so what do you do in a closing? First, recap of the session objectives, recap of what you did today, recap of all the topics covered, the objective reiterations. Begin by, revisiting the learning objectives outlined at the start of the session. Reinforce the purpose, reinforce the goals of this training, reminding the participants what they are expected to achieve after learning this. Summarize the key points. Provide a concise summary of the main objectives or main topics that you've covered. Highlight the key insights. Highlight the methodologies. Highlight the skills that they have explored, emphasizing the relevance and application of each. Okay, and then do an interactive recap. Encourage participants to share their key intakes, the key takeaways, what they learned, what they did. This interactive recap not only reinforces the learning, but also allows the participants engagement. It provides them insights. It provides them insights into their comprehension, what they have taken away with that. Right? The second step, recap of the next day. We equally want the candidates to be excited for the next day. Right? So, overviews of the next day's agenda. Offer a brief overview, what the participants can expect in the upcoming session. Provide an outline of the agenda. Provide hints at what are the exciting topics that are going to be covered. Or you can say, what are the teasing activities that are going to be there? What is the engagement that the participant can expect? Preparation instructions, if there are any preparations that they need to do before coming for tomorrow's session, this is the time to tell them. Any material that they have to read, any activity, any task for the next day that needs to be done, communicate them clearly. This will ensure that the participants are ready for tomorrow. They're organized for the following session. Okay. And after that, open questions. Invite the participants to ask questions for any material, any question, anything that they would want. Address any queries at this point. Foster clarity. Ensure that everyone is on the same page. And the third point, express gratitude. Thank the participants. Express sincere appreciation for their active participation, for their engagement, because the session was exciting, the session was engaging, because the attendees were engaging, right? So acknowledge their contribution to the learning environment, emphasize their collaborative nature for the training, and acknowledge their efforts. Recognize the effort that they have done. Recognize the commitment they have demonstrated as being participants throughout the session. When you do this, this acknowledgement reinforces their value in the learning community. It emphasizes and it reinforces their value in you as a trainer. Right? Always end with the meeting logistics for the next day. Confirm the meeting time again, clearly communicate the start time for the next day's session, even if it is the same as today. Still communicate it. This helps the participants plan their schedules. This puts a reinforcement in their mind that tomorrow they need to be here at the same time. Okay. Remind them of the logistics. Where is the session going to happen? If there's any change in the venue, any change in the material, anything that they have to get, any specific instructions for tomorrow, provide these reminders right now. Okay. Always end the session with an encouragement. Encourage the participants to reflect on the day's training, on the day's learning. Ask them how they're going to apply the insights. Always conclude with a positive and motivated statement. Reaffirm your confidence in their ability to grasp the material and express excitement about the continued learning journey that you're going to be having. Okay, so when you incorporate all these elements, what happens? What happens? You not only consolidate the learning, but also create a positive and anticipatory atmosphere for the upcoming sessions. Okay, so if you follow this comprehensive approach, your participants will always leave with a clear understanding of what they have achieved and with a clear understanding of how they need to be well prepared for the next phase of the learning session. Right? Great. So as we wrap up, let's recap the key takeaways from today's discussion. Effective training session involves clear objectives, a structured flow, a mindful BSM, mutual respect, constant checks for understanding, strategic time management, and an amazing closing. Right? So when you're going to implement all these elements, it will undoubtedly elevate your training game. Okay, great. Thanks for joining me today. And if you found this video helpful and you feel that it's going to be a game changer, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content. Till then, happy training and happy learning. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, so don't forget to share that as well. Right? Thank you so much, and stay safe, stay healthy.